Hey, my name is Jared Mims. I'm a founder of Pure Copper Incorporated in Providence. I started working Bitcoin in 2012. I was on the initial thread that started BitInstant. It was called Mt. Gox FastPay. I fielded that investment. Charlie Shrem jumped in and said that he would be the only investor. But he later went on to raise more investment, and so he kind of headbutted us out. It was a shame what happened to BitInstant. A longtime supporter of the Bitcoin community. But in the meantime, I had to do something, so I went over to UCSD and worked in genomics. And I figured out how to do genomic interpretation. There's a script submission platform I invented called the Omega Interpreter that enabled people to submit scripts that were run on the back end of servers to do genomic interpretation in a Python framework. And after I provisionally patented that under an LLC called Omega Genomics from North Carolina, I decided to come back to cryptocurrency. I went to Bitcoin 2013 in San Jose, that conference, and announced peer-to-peer insurance, PureCover. And I had just started developing. I'd taken some courses in college and knew how to do full-stack web development. And we put up a prototype. We provisionally patented under PureCover Incorporated, a Delaware C corporation. I think we did a good job for peer-to-peer insurance. We had a full alpha test of 2,700 people who used the platform, but the market just wasn't mature yet, and we kind of found a niche as a gateway, but of course met the usual problems. And at the end we said, how could Coinbase still survive with all this ACH reversal fraud that was happening? And we kind of figured out that it's just not viable to have irreversible transactions on backed by reversible transactions. It just wasn't going to work. And we've seen what's happening with Coinbase, and it's not good. Recently, when they have adopted Ethereum, which was based on the Omega Interpreter that I dropped into a Skype forum. I was in Bitcoin Honorary group and the Ripple group. We've seen some bad things happening with Ethereum, where they've declared that they're going to do reversible transactions, and it just doesn't quite make sense to us to base PureCover or Providence on the Ethereum protocol. And by the way, we're the first to do an ICO under Jobs Title II Act and Regulation D, but we were limited by the SEC on how much we could raise, and so we didn't raise enough money to do the full company yet. And right now we're kind of sitting on this intellectual property with peer-to-peer insurance and a suite of other technologies we did under the name Providence that enabled us to solve the contract problem that everyone was trying to solve at a more human level, and not necessarily at a this term where it's a decentralized autonomous organization. It doesn't quite make sense to us. It doesn't quite work. We've seen the DAO fail, and I know in my heart that most of this innovation that they've been heralding in the media has been a regurgitation of my work by the media, by a media expert, Vitalik Buterin. I published in the Cointelegraph that I had reported him to the FBI for borrowing this property and not compensating me for my work, and I need that compensation to do PureCover and Providence again. And Providence is a full suite number of technologies on the Ripple protocol, including Pledger Club, Pure Exchange, PureCover, and Providence Solutions. All technologies that I developed that fall under corporations that I own. So I'm well positioned here to do another ICO under Jobs Title III now that Title III has been ratified. I'm looking at projects that happened in the meantime while I was just kind of chilling and waiting for this hubbub to die down. I'm looking at things like Augur with Jack Peterson, who worked for PeerCover and left PeerCover, with Matt Liston, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, this offering wasn't legal. It went over the limits of Title III, and I'm glad that I wasn't involved. And I'm saying that the media and the Bitcoin community and the Ethereum committee decided to ratify these constructs and say they were legitimate, but to me they enable online gambling, and they're not going to stand up against lawsuits from the United States government. And even though they tried to make it a Canadian foundation, it's just not going to work because the self-declared CEO and the core developer are Americans, or not Canadian. And so what I'm trying to say is that we need a new ICO that's legitimate, and we need it on the Ripple protocol. The banks aren't going to just die. The banks are going to transition to a new cryptocurrency protocol, and people who have invested in Ethereum and projects like Augur are going to get left behind. And I'm asking people to wake up and embrace the idea of a new ICO that's fully legitimate under United States law, that's backed by real intellectual property, that's detailed in the media, it's detailed in the New Scientist. And unfortunately, the publication by Tim Swanson, Great Chain of Numbers, told a mistruth when it said that PeerCover was eventually going to be on the Ethereum protocol. Ethereum's not a given. There's no real advantage to using Ethereum. The hard fork makes it unstable, and it's ruled by tyranny of the majority. And so I'm saying, don't trust your money to Ethereum. And if you look at Coinbase and its related exchange, and what happened with the fork, and the fact that there are replay attacks that are draining Coinbase, and that Coinbase requires continual investment, and it keeps soliciting more and more investment because there's so much fraud. Why are you investing in Coinbase? Why do you care about Coinbase? Why do you care about Ethereum? Why do you care about Augur? You need to care about Providence. That's the platform that's going to make it in the new economy. And I'm about to show a couple people who can testify to that fact, and just tell you from a very human standpoint, or from a legal standpoint, Providence is going to make it, and you need to support Providence's new offering, no matter how you feel about what protocol it's on, or how you feel about what happened with PeerCover and Providence. Legally, PeerCover and Providence are real, they're in the right, they're going to succeed. And I hope you can review the material that we produced that testifies to that fact, that Pledger Club solves the contract problem, that Providence Solutions solves the ISP problem, in which people are using too much bandwidth and they're not paying for what they use. And I hope that you can believe in PeerCover, peer-to-peer insurance for everyone, that cuts down the cost of insurance and gets rid of premiums forever. And there's one more thing. We all use exchanges, but they haven't produced any new value. We kind of created a cross-border approach that enables any gateway to participate, whereas the competitors only care about themselves, and they only care about what they can own on a vertical. So please look into the Providence campaign going forward, and just take a look at what we're offering, and know that we're real businessmen, and we can afford to slow play this. But that, in fact, our team has the best development, and we've shown the fastest results, and we've proven innovation, and we've been the victim of what amounts to slander in what's going to work and what's not. I hope that you can find it in you to endorse our offering, so that we don't have to go to the big media guys and say, you have to endorse us so that everyone else can see us. That's not right. What's right is you looking at our technology and saying, our technology can help you. And I'm here to promise you that it can. So please, please, just take a moment to review Providence, review Peer Cover, and figure things out for yourself.